Hi guys, it's me. Every 6 months or so I make a video. Um, it is March 22nd, 2021, and I haven't made a video since October. Um, so I'm here with sort of an update and a little bit of 2020 wrap up and a little bit of 2021 progress and plans and you know catch up. So um, yeah, so I made a video in October. And then I didn't really stitch between like October and January. Um, I had talked about a lot last year that I was having trouble with my stitchy bug, and I think what happened is I was trying to stitch on something that I didn't really want to work on because no new starts, and you had to have 200 stitches in it in order to get it into no new starts. And I was trying to put stitches in it. I think that just killed my stitchy bug. So, but yeah, I struggled to get my stitchy bug back. Um, I didn't hardly stitch between October and December. At the end of December, I did start stitching a little bit because of no new starts, and I had some stuff I needed to start, and I needed to bring up to 200 stitches so that I could get it in. Um, but that's all I really did. It wasn't really enough to warrant a video. So, but in January, we got started on the New Year challenges, and the New Year long stuff, and so I kind of got back into it and started with year-long challenges. And that's kind of been consuming all my stitching. I haven't really done a whole lot of stitching outside of that. But hey, I'm getting some stitching done. So um, I'm getting some progress on my pieces. I'm hoping to finish some stuff this year because I'm not starting anything. So it's been okay. I'm still not stitching at the level of it that I was like in 2019. But I'm not stitching nothing. So um, it's going all right. So I'm going to show you, because I did not do a 2020 wrap-up video, I'm going to just show you my finishes for 2020. I'm not going to go through all my progress or whatever. I'll show you my finishes. I'll show you my new starts that I started for no new starts. And there were a couple that I left out because it was New Year's Eve and I just ran out of starting energy. There were a couple that I wanted to get in and they're going to have to wait. And then I'll show you what I've been working on, challenges and stuff for this year. So, and a sort of a selected portion of haul. For somebody who's doing no new starts and who's not starting anything this year, I've been doing a ridiculous amount of shopping. But I'm not going to show you all of that because it would take all day. And so I'm going to show you a few things like that I bought, but you don't need to see everything that I bought. Okay. So let's do finishes for 2020. And I know you've all seen these before. I know I showed them all last year. So this is the first thing that I finished is Artistey's Sunset Cross Bookmark. We did in Virtual Stitchers, we did a Artistey sale last January. We called it the Joni sale because our beloved Joni found an Artistey chart that made her giddy, and we're like, we all need to stitch Artistey because Joni found a full coverage that she wanted to stitch. And I was not up for a big full coverage start, so I stitched a bookmark. And then my second finish, I think this was my second finish. This is Bent Creek's Land of Liberty. This is one of their zipper kits, and I've sung the praises of those zipper kits many, many times. I love them. I've done several of them. I have several more, but this is when I finished last year. This is Spell of the Moon by Blackbird Designs. I stitched it in the DMC for the black and the green And I bought the variegated for the moon. I did the yellow and the variegated because I thought the moon kind of warrants the variegated. Um, so there's Spill of the Moon. And this is just stitched on a random piece of fabric out of my stash. I don't know what it is. This was stitched on the 18 count. The Bent Creek zipper kits always come with 18 count linen, and they're stitched with number 5 pearl cotton. So, which is great because it's one strand. You don't have to ply it. It's great. It's either one strand of number 5 pearl cotton or 6 strands of DMC. So, and then, um, this, my Miss New Year's Fairy by Mirabilia. There were a lot of people on Virtual Stitchers waiting to see this one finished. And Vicky at Reading and Stitching every night would message me and say, "Have you finished her yet? Have you finished her yet? Why are you not working on her? Have you finished her yet?" So there she is. When I posted her on Facebook, my uncle made a smart comment because I finished her in April, like right at the beginning of the pandemic. And my uncle was like, "Why isn't she wearing a mask?" So I took my photo editor and I drew a mask on her, and I was like, "There, see." So there's 2 pictures of her. There's one like this, and then there's one where she's wearing a mask. So there's my Miss New Year's Fairy. I've done 2 of these now. I did Christmas Elf Fairy, and I've done Miss New Year's Fairy, and I have the other 4. Clearly they're not getting done this year. And then this is a Mill Hill egg. This is daffodil egg that I did last August, September during the political conventions. So I actually, after I finished this one, I started the tulip egg, but it's in timeout because I did not put it in No New Starts, so it's just going to have to wait until next year. So those were my finishes for 2020. 2020 was kind of a so-so year. I had a lot of problems with my stitchy bug. It kind of went up and down. I made a lot of progress on several of my projects. I was hoping to finish those projects last year. That didn't happen. I plan to finish them this year. But I made a lot of progress on them. I didn't get as much done as I would have liked, but you know, last year was a tough year for. I think everybody had a tough year last year. So hopefully this year is going to be better, at least as far as stitching goes. No new starts. So there's a challenge group going. It's closed now. You can't join it anymore for people who are not starting anything in 2021. And in order to get your piece in 2021, like I said, you got to have 200 stitches. So at the end of the year last year, well, okay, and I'm sure all of you know this because other floss tubers have talked about it. A lot of you are in it. But the run up to No New Starts kind of became start all the things. I did not indulge in that too much. I was surprised, actually, you guys. I started 13 projects last year, and I was surprised at that. Because I remember at the beginning of the year, I said, no Virtual Stitchers was doing Leap into a New Start, and I'm like, I don't need 12 new starts. I'm not going to participate every month. And I didn't really participate in that every month, but I still started 13 things. But I think there were only 3 that I started because we were doing no new starts, and I wanted to make sure I got them in there. So I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, so I'm going to show you a couple of the things that I started. Well, I'll show you. These are the things that I started because of no new starts. That I was stitching on the 3 days before the end of the year, the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st of December. And then I ran out of energy, so the other two that I wanted to do didn't get in there. And I'm gonna have to show you pictures on my phone because I don't have any of these charts handy. This is my raspberry bag from Garon's Cotton. And this houses this project that I started. This was a stitch along because Vicky at Stitch and Button was having a birthday. And so for her birthday, we started Poppy by Nora Corbett. That's not a very, can you see that? You can't see her wings hardly. But that was her birthday start, was Poppy by Nora Corbett. So I wanted to stitch with Vicky, so I don't know which way this goes. I think it goes this way. So I started Poppy. I don't know which way this goes. Maybe it goes that way. So there's my 200 stitches. And I will get back to her at some point this year, I hope. The fabric, I don't know what the fabric is. It has a cut edge here, so I'm thinking it's half of something else that I cut, but I don't know what it is. And I'm thinking that it's something from Sugar Maple, but I don't even really know that either. I don't know what it is. I thought that it was the bottom that I cut off my Mains of the Seasons, but when I looked at my Mains of the Seasons, I didn't cut it. So I don't know what it is. So there's my Poppy. I'll put this back over there. This one, I told you all the story last year. I bought this chart because Zeb wanted it, and she wouldn't ship it to New Zealand. Or she would ship it to New Zealand, but she wouldn't wait for Zeb to get paid. So I bought it, and I bought it for Zeb, and I'm going to stitch it, and I'll send it on to Zeb when I'm done. And this is Moon Garden by Blackbird Designs. Let's try this again. Can you see that better? Yeah. So there's Moon Garden by Blackbird Designs. And this is one that I also made sure to get into New Starts because I know Zeb is waiting for it. And I think this goes this way. So there's my 200 stitches on Moon Garden. The fabric is Silent Night by Die Stitch Love. Okay. This one, of all of my new starts, this one has gotten the most attention. I've actually spent a little bit of time on this one. I used her for a couple of challenges. And this one, I know there's a lot of you stitching this one right now. And a lot of you have already finished her. But this is A Stitch for Sweet Freedom by Lindy Stitches. And it's available in her Etsy shop. It works on Pattern Keeper. And so I've used this for a couple of challenges. And so I finished all of the words and I started on the medallion at the top. So there's my start on her. I think I've got 700 stitches in her. There's some of us kind of doing a friendly challenge to see if we can get 1,000 stitches in all of our webs. And it's just kind of, a challenge between friends. And so I'm almost there on her. And okay, so those were my starts that I started just for no new starts. The rest of this is stuff that I've already had started. I worked on most of this last year. Actually, there is one in here that No, I didn't. I did start it last year, but I had already had enough stitches in it. So this is the stuff that I've been working on so far this year for Magical Stitches and for Zombie Run and for Alpha My Bet and Zombie Run. I love Zombie Run, but it's like consuming my stitching because I'm still not at that point where I'm doing enough stitching to do very much more than finish the Zombie Run. That's like consuming all of my stitching time. So I'm sure a lot of you know this because other people are in it. Other people are talking about it. The Zombie Run is the year-long event in Daily 30. Daily 30 is a closed group. You cannot join. You cannot request to join. They're not taking new members right now. But you either get to be a zombie or a human. And if you're a zombie, you do 200 stitches at a time. You get 4 whips. You do 200 stitches at a time. You have to cycle through all your 4 whips every month. And then you can do the rest however you want. It's 2,400 stitches in a month that has 31 days. 2,000 stitches in a month that has less than 31 days. So, and if you're a human, you do 400 stitches at a time. So the 400 stitches, you take fewer pictures, but the 200 stitches, you have more flexibility with how you do your pieces, because if you're doing 400 stitches at a time, by the time you get through all 4 of your pieces, you've done 1,600 stitches. So you don't really have a lot of wiggle room at the end to kind of focus on something, or So with 200 stitches, you still have a lot of room to, choose a focus piece or to, do whatever you want. So I have 4 pieces here for a Zombie Run. So the first piece, and you guys saw this last year. I worked on this a lot last year. This is one of the ones I was hoping to finish and did not. But this is my Victorian Village. This is Janlin Victorian Village, and it's an old kit. But if you go on eBay, you can find it for like $20. It's not. It's there's generally 4 or 5 of them up for sale, and they're all around $20. It's not hard to find. It's not expensive. There's no out of print pricing on it. So if you like Victorian houses, and so I actually I am actually very happy with my progress on this. When I started this or when I not when I started it, but when I pulled it out at the beginning of 2020, I had these 2 buildings done, and all the rest of it was blank. Well, I had some of the firehouse done that I had to pull out. I had to frog what I had of the firehouse, and I started it over. But so I'm very happy that I'm up to, this is building number 8 that I'm up to. And they're all backstitched except this one. All the rest of them are backstitched. I've been trying to make sure I backstitch as I go because if I wait till the end and have to backstitch 7 buildings, that's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a nightmare. So these houses they're 800 to 1,000 stitches each, and they're also about 800 back stitches each. Because when you count back stitch for challenges, you have to do 2 back stitches to get 1 cross stitch. And I've been able to do 2 sets of 400 back stitches on each house. Usually a little more, like 400, and it usually comes out to like 820 or 830 back stitches on each house. So this is where I am. So I'm working on this house. This is going to be the church, and this is going to be the lighthouse. And there's a 2-story house here. There's a big house here, and then the church goes right here. No, the school goes right here. Yeah, the school goes here. There's a house there. The school goes here. So there's my ornaments, and it's gonna go away until next month. I did 400 stitches on it. I backstitched this month for my 2 zombie run miles. So next month I'll finish this. So I'm happy with that. I'm gonna finish it this year. After I finish this, I think I'm gonna do the lighthouse next. And this is also on my Whipco board. So it's got like 3 squares on my Whipco board. Okay. This is another piece I will show you a picture of on my phone. And this is my Mira focus this year. This is Silver Moon Tea by Mirabilia. I started her last year as a stitch along with Lisa at Lisa Stitching and Such, and Sarah at our Stitching Kingdom, and Natalie at Knitting at Stitches. And she is also one of my zombie run pieces. I changed the fabric. I was gifted the called for fabric for her, but it's a Wishelt fabric, and it's like stitching on cardboard. And if you stitch in a frame, it's probably okay, but I stitch in hand, and it was not okay. I was not a fan. So I switched to a neutral that I have in my I had in my stash. I don't know what it is. But Silver Moon Tea is full coverage, so it kind of doesn't matter what you stitch it on because you're not going to see it anyway. But it's just a neutral, and so here she is. So far, this is another one I've made my 1,000 stitches, and the ornaments too. I've made my 1,000 stitches. So, but I'm gonna work on her later this week, or next weekend maybe. But there she is. Lots of 209, all of that purple borders, DMC 209. What was I gonna say about this? I don't remember. I think what I was gonna say is that one of the rules of Zombie Run is that you have to hit all 4 of your whips every month, and I want to hit a different whip. I want to do like 1,000 stitches on a different whip, but I don't want to do it all at one time. So I think I'm going to do 400 or 600 on that, and then I'm going to do like 400 on this, and then I'll go back and do some more on that. So I'm saving this until later. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say is I'm really behind on Zombie Run because you're supposed to get 12 miles. And today's the 21st, and I've only done 5. So I need to get moving because the month is quickly disappearing. And I told myself at the beginning of the month, because both in January and February, here was Laurel on the last day of the month going, I need to finish my miles, I need to finish my miles. And I told myself in March, I'm going to finish early. I'm not going to be sitting there on the last day of the month trying to get my miles in before the deadline. And here I am. And this is another Zombie Run piece that I'm happy to share is being enabled around FlossTube because I enabled Alma and Alma enabled EJ. So I'm glad people are picking it up and oh, so this is Three Things by Maura Blackburn, and I confuse the heck out of people when I talk about this piece because I just call it Three Things, and so say, yeah, I'm stitching on 3 things, and they're going, how are you stitching on 3 things at the same time? So I confuse a lot of people with this, but so this I call this my tablecloth. She is a big girl. I think she's on a fat half. So there's where I am on her. So I finished this is page 1, and I finished the alphabet. There's the rest of this leaf border. There's 6 of these leaves here, and then there's some floral motifs at the bottom here that go on to the next page. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and just spill onto the next page and do the whole motif instead of stopping with a partial motif because that doesn't make any sense. So I've done 600 stitches on her. I used her for Magical Stitches homework this week. So she's going to go away until next month. And next month I'll pick up these leaves and maybe do some of these flowers on the border. I'm not really looking forward to these flowers. I have to say, I'm really not. So there's 3 things sampler. And you can see Alma's at Alma's Little Wonders, and EJ at Sunshine Stitchers is doing no new starts, so she's going to have to wait. And, oh, my last Zombie Run piece. This is the one that I want to do 1,000 stitches on, but I don't want to do it at once. So, this is, oh, I'll have to tell you a story about this too. So, this is Quaker Game Board by Papillon Creations. I had a little bit of a fangirl moment with this month. Just a little bit of a fangirl moment. And I fangirled to myself. I didn't fangirl all over Facebook. Or Virtual Stitchers. Maybe I fangirled a little bit on Virtual Stitchers. So there's where I am. And the reason why I want to do so many stitches is because I want to try to finish these 6 blocks. I need to finish this little motif and these 2 blocks and these 4 blocks. And of course that'll be the end of page 3, but it'll also be the top half. And I think it's going to take 800 stitches, maybe more, to get there. So that's why I want to try to do 4 or 5 miles on this because I want I want to finish this. And then the next thing I'm going to do next month, I think, when I do my zombie run for next month, I'm going to start filling in these little diamonds here. So I posted in a couple of the sampler groups saying that in the pattern, the model stitch has these diamonds cross-stitched. But in the instructions, they give you some options if you want to fill it in with specialty stitches instead. And so I was looking through the specialty stitches, and I picked 3. And I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the specialty stitches or if I'm going to cross-stitch it. And if I use the specialty stitches, how am I going to arrange them? So I posted in a sampler group saying, hey, what do you guys think about this? What should I do? What would you do? How would you arrange it? And I was hoping for more suggestions than I got, frankly. I only got 2. And the one suggestion was to put a queen stitch right here in the center, and then to do the rest, like, you know, when you drop a stone in water and it kind of ripples out, to do the rest, like, you know, rippling out from the queen stitch, which I think is what I'm going to do. I like that suggestion. And then the other suggestion I got was from Yvonne Horn, the designer at Papillon Creations. And this created my little bit of fangirl moment. But the designer was actually there answering my question for me. And she said that when she did the model, she had 7 specialty stitches and she did them in diagonals, which makes sense. And I considered doing that too. It would be perfectly fine that way, but I think I'm gonna take the first suggestion with the queen stitch. So there's my Quaker game board. This also occupies like 3 squares on my Whipco board. And I want to finish it this year. I was hoping to finish it last year, and I didn't. But I got a good chunk of progress on it last year, so hopefully I'll be able to finish it this year. I'm trying to, when I do my zombie run each month, I'm trying to give 3 things, because you got to do 12 miles or 10 miles. I'm trying to give 3 things and Silver Moon Tea like 2 miles each, maybe 3 on a 12-mile month. And I'm kind of trying to give either Quaker Game Board or Victorian Village like 4 or 5 miles each month. Because when we first started, I thought if I do 1 mile on each Silver Moon Tea, 3 things, and Victorian Village, and do 9 miles on Quaker Game Board, I could finish it in a few months. But I don't see myself doing 1,800 stitches on Quaker Game Board every month. That's not going to happen. So I've dialed it back a little bit, and I do, 800 or 1,000 stitches on one of them, and then I divide the rest of the miles between the other 3. So those are my zombie run pieces. And I double dip them with magical stitches where I can. I could probably double dip them with semi-sane. I haven't really been doing that. There's been a couple of pop-up events in Daily 30 where they've allowed us to double dip the pop-up with the zombie run, and I'm like, thank you. So I've done those because we're allowed to double dip them. Normally, you're not allowed to double dip in Daily 30. But so that's been getting most of my stitching time is. Oh, I have another piece that I've been working on. I'll have to get it and show you. Maybe I'll just show you a picture. Anyway, so I put some stitches in it anyway. So this piece is my piece that I'm working on for Alpha My Bet in Semi-Sane. Semi-Sane is not closed, I don't think, but you have to say who invited you into the group, who told you about the group, and so you can give me if you want. I heard about it from Laurel last tube. I think the password for the next week or so, the month of March, is Choco Flower. So if you join this month, you can use the password Choco Flower and tell them you got it from me. All right. So this is my off of my bet piece, which you choose a piece that has an alphabet. You stitch on a letter every 2 weeks. So this is Tradewinds by Theresa Winslower. And clearly there's all that alphabet down there. Some people have replaced the alphabet with the quote, but I'm just doing the alphabet. And so I've decided that every time I do an alphabet, every time I do a letter, I try to pair it with a prompt from either Magical Stitches or Daily 30, usually from Daily 30. I try to pair it with a prompt. So I do the alphabet, and then I do enough stitches on top of that to meet whatever the prompt is. It's usually something like 200 or 300 stitches. So this is where I am. I'm behind. I have not done E or F yet. I think they're finishing up F now, and they're probably getting ready to move on to G. Or they have already moved on to G. I don't know. I'm behind. Because I have 10 days to do, or 9 days to do 7 miles on Zombie Run. So I've been doing that, and then I've been doing the mermaid. I found a mistake in the mermaid, and I'm kind of fudging it. Actually, the mermaid block is 2 stitches too short, because this is when there should be one more stitch in here, and so this is too high, and this is all too high, and this is 2 stitches too short, and then I made a mistake somewhere too, so the bottom of the mermaid block is getting fudged. In order to fix it, I would have to pull all this out and pull all this out, and like pull the entire bottom out, and that's not happening. So we're going to make do on the mermaid, and we will figure out. There's a specialty stitch that goes in here that I don't exactly have enough room for, so I'll figure that out when I get there. But for now, we are just sort of making it work on the mermaid. So this is my alphabet piece. My other Theresa Winslower piece that I was working on last year, Under the Evergreen, has not gotten any love this year. I call him my handsome boy because the rocking horse is adorable. I stitched him for as one of the challenges last year, and he's adorable. But I have not worked on that, and I worked on it in August because I frogged 500 stitches out of it in August, and I put 600 back in, and I haven't touched it since. And then the last piece, which I did not bring, that I will show you on my phone, is this one here, Real Comfort by Jane Austen, Real Comfort by Modern Folk Embroidery. And y'all might recall that apparently when I started her last January, I started her with Renee and Virtual Stitchers, and there's not really a good picture on here, is there? This isn't really a very good picture, but Renee and I started it together, and apparently I decided that math did not matter, and I did not measure my fabric carefully enough, so I don't have enough fabric. But I'm gonna do the top. I'll just leave off the alphabet and I'll just do the top with the verse, and that'll be fine. I'm kind of sorry I'm not gonna be able to do the alphabet, but it'll be fine. So that's where I got to on that. I used it for a Magical Stitches prompt, and so that's where that is. This is another one that I hope to finish this year. So that's what I've been stitching on. I have a lot more stuff that I hope to get to. I need to kind of ramp up my stitching because I have a lot of stuff that I need to get to outside of Zombie Run. And so far, the Zombie Run is consuming probably 90% of my stitching time. So I need to get my bedding gear and stitch more. The last couple of weeks, I have been sleeping like crazy. Oh my gosh. I think that I'm 43 and not 23. I can't operate on 5 hours of sleep like I used to. And I think it's kind of catching up with me that I need to sleep more. Um, so yeah, the last couple of weeks I've been sleeping like crazy. And I'll log off of work and I'll fall asleep like at 5:30, and I'll get up at 7 or 8. And then, yeah. And last Saturday, I I needed to do something at 5:30ish. And I thought, I'm going to take a 2-hour nap. I'm set my alarm. I'm going to take a 2-hour nap. I'm going to get up and do what I need to do. So I think it was around 3. It was around 2 or 2:30. I think it was 2. And I said, I'm going to set my alarm for, or 2:30. I'm going to set my alarm for 5 or 5:30, whatever it was. I woke up at 8. And I think my alarm probably went off and I must have turned it off. And I went back to sleep and I woke up. My 2-hour nap turned into 6 hours. And then I went to bed that night and I slept for 4 more hours. And then I got home from church and I slept some more. So I've been sleeping like crazy and my stitching is not benefiting from that at all. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I need to stitch more. Because I have a goal. I want to finish 10 projects this year. I when I started No New Starts, I put in 30 projects in No New Starts, and I'd like to finish 10 of them, including I think almost all of the ones I just showed you. I don't have any expectation that I'm going to finish 3 things, but or Tradewinds, but Moon Garden, A Stitch for Sweet Freedom, maybe Silver Moon Tea, Victorian Village, Quaker Game Board. Some of the other ones in my Stash Raspberry Homecoming I'd like to finish this year. So I have a friend who's also stitching it, and she wants me to stitch Blueberry Homecoming with her next year. So she's got to get done. So I need more. I need to stitch more. Yeah. So, Paul, like I said at the beginning, I've been doing a ridiculous amount of shopping for somebody who's not allowed to start anything. So I need to stop. And I've bought a lot of stuff. I've been buying project bags still, which I need a hole in the head. I really have a ridiculous amount of project bags. I have more project bags than I have projects. But every time Gary posts one or every time Vicky posts one, I'm like, oh, that's pretty. I want that. Me, please. And I'm in Gary's Bag of the Month Club. So, I have project bags that I bought. I have my subscription to Fortnite Fabrics that I'm still getting. I love my Fortnite Fabric subscription. I'm not going to show you all of that. I'm going to show you a few things that I bought from vendors that I hadn't used before, or just things that are like different from project bags and fabric, and just, you know, a couple of things that I thought, let me just show these things here. So I bought some fabric from Theresa Curry at Needlework, started dyeing fabric. And I've heard she's got a third color out now. She's got a blue out, which I haven't seen yet. Crinkle, crinkle, sorry. But, so this is, I got 28 count even weave. So I got a fat quarter of Butter Crunch. It's kind of a yellowy tan color. It's a good neutral. It's got a little bit of a green cast to it actually, but and then I've got Shrekie's Tan, which is more of a true brown, and it's also a good neutral. So those are both very pretty. And you can get these on the Needlework. You can get them from the Needlework Etsy shop. You can get them from Go On Stitchery. You can get them from, she's distributing them. So, and then I also bought from a new to me dyer. She was selling in her Facebook group. She was selling pairs of fabrics. I think these are fat eighths. This is from Mystic Hand-Dyed Fabrics. And I don't know what these colors are called. But is that's pretty true. Might be a little darker in real life than that, but so there's that one, and there's this one. That is not true at all. It's a much brighter aqua. That looks like a sky blue. It's not really sky blue. It's like an aqua, like a water kind of blue. Yeah, that's not very true at all. It's not a sky blue like that. It's very aqua. So I got those from Mystic Hand-Dyed Fabrics. She has a website and a Facebook group. She might have an Etsy store. I don't know if she has an Etsy store. Oh. I also got from Theresa at Needlework. Theresa's been dyeing fabric, but she also makes project bags. And her project bags are very different than the ones that I get from Vicky or from Gary. And so I was like, let me get one of these because they're kind of cool, and they're different than what I usually get. So this is the fabric. It's just a floral print, and it's quilted, and then it has a snap closure, and then it's got this quilted inside with the quilted fabric, but it has a pocket. You see this? I think that's the coolest thing. There's the pocket where you would put your stitching, and then it's got a pocket if you want to put your chart or whatever you want to put in there. I thought that was the coolest thing, and it's very pretty. So I got that from her. She has, I think when I was on her Etsy shop, she has a couple of different styles of project bags. But this is the one that I like. Was the style with the extra pocket in it. And then, last time I bought some bags from Gary, I added some stuff to my cart because the shipping is insane. And I'm like, well, as long as I'm going to pay all this in shipping, I'm going to get more stuff. And I'm about 90% sure that I can blame Sheila at Sunshine Stitchers for this. I think it was her that I saw with it, and I thought they were adorable. So, this is Bunny Shower by Just Nan. You can't really see that, but see, it's like raining bunnies. And they're all holding little flowers and umbrellas. They're adorable. Or I guess they're umbrellas made of flowers. But adorable. And it comes with a little charm pack. And I also got, it's Snowing Men. And it also comes with a little charm pack. Bead pack. I thought those were adorable. And so I went and found them, and I found them on Go On Stitchery. And then I also got the new Blackbird Designs book, Winds of Autumn. So, I think it's got a couple of things in here that I already have as separate charts, like Spell of the Moon, I've already stitched, but they have a new sampler in here, I don't know what it's called. They have an autumn sampler in here that I wanted, and I'm sure they have several things that I haven't stitched, so, no, it's this one. There it is. There's the autumn sampler. So, I got that. Next year I'll do some more Blackbird stitching. One of the pieces that I wanted to start this year and didn't get to for No New Starts is We Live in Hope. Didn't get to that one. But so maybe next year I'll get to We Live in Hope, and I'll get to a couple of the things in there. I also have All Joys for Line that I wanted to get to, and I didn't get to that either. So, and then I got, so there's a group called, what is it called? I don't even know what it's called. I have to look it up every time I talk about it because I don't really know what it's called. It's called Homespun Needlework Cross Stitch and Samplers. And they have, like 2 or 3 times a year, they'll have an exclusive by a designer. And you have to be in the group to get the instructions on how to order the exclusive. And so I'm in the group, and I got an exclusive by Blackbird last year. And then they did a Stacey Nash exclusive that I skipped. And then they did a Lottie Da exclusive. Oh. Well, there's the Blackbird exclusive. That's not really what I intended to show you. Hold on for a second. Wait. Alright. I grabbed the wrong box. So, this is the exclusive from La Di Da this year. It's called Catherine's Big Heart. And it's Catherine E. Shelby 1802. So I got that. This exclusive, the offer is over, but I'm sure it's going to be released to the general public soon. Or whenever the exclusivity deal ends. Eventually. They have one right now. It's also Blackbird. That I think it's winding down. I don't know how long it's going to be available. But if you join the group, all the instructions on how to order it are in the group. And they said they're going to have another one later this year by Hands-On Design, maybe? I don't know. They said they were going to have one later this year. So it's fun. They're not cheap. They're kind of pricey. But it's fun. And the last thing that I have is I ordered some stuff from Vicky that aren't project bags, believe it or not. So I got this Frogger from her. It's a unicorn. It has a needle and then a little beading and then a unicorn charm. And then I got, because, they have to match, of course, I got the unicorn scissors. Because heaven forbid your scissors don't match your Frogger. Like, who does that? Right? Of course your accessories have to match. Like, your project bag has to match your grime guard and your project. And, of course, and your needle minder. Come on, you do it too. All right. So, I've been going for an hour. I think that's about all for me. As far as life goes, I'm still working from home. It's been a year. I went into the office one day a week last fall, and I'm back working at home full time again. I haven't been in the office since I think early December, or maybe even before Thanksgiving. I don't know when they're going to start reopening the office. I don't know. I'm sure upper management is discussing it, but it hasn't made its way down to line staff, so I don't know. So for now, I'm still working at home. I'm trying to get out a little more. I live in California, and I think we still have one of the strictest lockdowns that are still in place. Some things are starting to open back up, but they still have a lot of restrictions and a lot of rules, and I'm trying to get out more. I've been going to church in person, so I'm trying to get out a little bit. I was never the most motivated person to start with, and this lockdown for the past year has made me even lazier than I was. Like, I was already really lazy, but like I got up and got ready. We had an event at church on Saturday, and then I went yesterday, and I got up and I'm like, I gotta put a bra on, really. I gotta put clothes on. Like, I was already lazy, and this has just made it like 100 times worse. Um, yeah. Um, so my family is okay. My mom and my uncle are moving to a bigger apartment, which will be nice for them. They'll have more space. They're staying inside. They're older. They've been staying inside a lot, avoiding going in public. Um, Yeah, things are okay here. Um, my sleeping schedule still goes up and down. Like I said, past 2 weeks I've been sleeping like crazy. Um, but I'm kind of trying to keep control of it and not get into that cycle where I'm staying up all night and then I'm calling out of work because I didn't sleep. I'm trying not to do that. So, uh, I'm trying to watch it and trying to make sure that I'm not missing too much work, or I'm trying not to miss work. It still happens sometimes, but I'm trying not to. Um, yeah, I think that's all for me. Um, I hope you have a wonderful stitching month, and Easter's coming up. Happy Easter for those of you who celebrate it. And I will try to be here before 6 months is up. But people were like, Laurel, you should make a video. How come you haven't made a video in 5 months? I'm like, because I wasn't stitching. There wasn't anything to show. But now I've done some stitching and, so I'm like, let me go ahead and make a video. So I'm happy to see all of you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Happy stitching. Bye.